A white person wouldn't dare say it. Few black women would say it, but one black woman did. In a new book, The Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman, Sharazad Ali blames the black woman for what she describes as two generations of pitiful blacks who are drug addicts, homosexuals, lesbians, psychotics, and murderers. The cause of the breakdown in the black family structure is the black woman's disrespect for and rebellion against the leadership and authority of the black man, Sharazad believes. And she does so because of the, quote, nearly psychotic insecurity, unquote, the author adds. Whew. She tells black men to read it before she does. In most homes, he would have to, and read it under a blanket with a flashlight. At that, oh, Sharazad says, before you jump on her, give her a chance to explain. She states that the inside story between black men and black women has been tiptoed around as if it were a time bomb. I'm Tony Brown. We'll see in a moment when we return with A Minority of One. My guests are Ms. Sharazad Ali, author of The Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman, and Ms. Barbara Massimini, former college psychology instructor and the mother of four. Ms. Ali, I have an article here from the Chicago Independent Bulletin. A black male columnist, Hurley Green Sr., says he loves it. I have a column here from the Washington Post. They don't know which way to go. There is a tremendous amount of controversy, needless to say. And kicking us off into the program, I'd like to read you your opening statement. And I quote you. The black man and black woman in America have a problem. They do not get along. Before the black man can devise a solution, he must know the components of this problem. The first factor is that the black woman is out of control. She does not submit to guidance by her God-given mate, the black man. Her intention to overpower and subdue the black man is motivated by several factors, the most prevalent being her self-inflicted, nearly psychotic insecurity. Her disrespect for the black man is a direct cause of the destruction of the black family. That is a pretty wide brush, Ms. Ali. Would you give us the benefit of the logic, and or if I have misrepresented you in any way thus far?
No, that's not a misrepresentation of my writing or of the truth. What we have is a situation where we have always examined you as black men and made a determination that many of the ails in our communities were your fault. We agreed with the white medias in this position that everything that's wrong in the black community, nearly everything, is because of the black man. If you would do this, if you would do that, everything would just be fine. But that isn't true in its entirety, and it's time that we as black women accepted our portion and our share of the responsibility for the condition that our black nation is in. Now, this does not mean that everything that has gone wrong in the black community is our fault. That is not what I'm saying, that is the black woman's fault. I'm saying that we are still in unity and we have equality because it is 50% the black man's fault and 50% ours. But we have been so insulated by this society, and Western civilization has taught us and used us as a tool against you by teaching us that we were better than the black man. And we have enjoyed the rumor that we are the backbone of the black nation. But when we look at the last generation or two and see what we have produced alone, while we were allegedly backboning the nation, it's quite disrespectful. And so we talk about the role models and the need to have them around our children so that, because we know that gender is a learned science, we have to be taught into the responsibilities of the male and the female sex roles in any communities. And so if we look at our children and see if they are rampant, disrespectful, out of order, and savage, then we have to look at the model. Who have they been looking at since we say that you have not been in the home with us? They looked at us.
Now, I'm trying to get the premise, the words control. Black woman is out of control. That infers that there is a specific place for her.
Yes.
Isn't that doesn't that fly in the face of where the country is going?
Well, certainly that kind of language upsets us. Any kind of words like control, obey, obedient, do what I say do, any of those words, they represent a negative to us because of how we were reared in slavery. And so whenever we hear those sounds, they send off some kind of automatic panic in our heads. But control does not mean to subjugate us or to put us below anyone. It just means to put us in our rightful place in any game, especially in chess. Let me use that as an example, Tony. The queen is the most powerful on the board. We can move anywhere. We can get in and out of areas that the king cannot go. He can't go there, but we can go there. So our being out of control is that we have refused to allow and accept the black man to give us any direction on anything we're doing,
But
because we're judging him by somebody else's standards.
But where does the black man's authority derive? Why should the black man be the dominant partner in a relationship?
Because for over 76 trillion years, this is how we have had a successful legacy of black people and non-white people on the earth. It was only in these recent 500 years, since the white man brought you here and turned you into a slave, have you been unable to fulfill your responsibilities of running the nation. The man is first, the woman is second. That does not mean that we are below you. We have equality in a point. But in every successful civilization all over the earth, the men are in charge of the nation. And our men have been robbed of that position by the white man because he wants to keep the black man down. And he knows the best way to do that is to get the black woman on his side. And that's where we have been, on his side.
Ms. Massimini, would you please respond to any or all of what Ms. Ali has said?
I agree that as African Americans...
And you have read her book.
I have read the book. I disagree with most of the book. I do agree, however, that we, as African Americans, are in a terrible state here in this country. I don't think, however, that it is the fault or responsibility of either the black man alone or the black woman alone to resolve that. I think that the only way we can be successful as a unit to regain what we have lost is to cooperate and, as a unit, go forward. Also, I think that we need to realize that the world today is different than it was when we were brought to these shores. And one of the ways that people survive, or that species survive, is to adapt to their changing environment. And one of the things I think that we as African Americans need to do, both men and women, is adapt and work as a unit to overcome the oppression that we have suffered in this country.
Can you put your finger, as a psychologist, on any origin of many of our pathologies, of black on black crime, black men killing black men, any of the increases in these incidences? Do you have any theory as to why they have exploded so much?
Well, surely it's got to be the condition that we're exposed to. The black community has been assaulted for the entire time that we've been in this country. And the assault changes with the years. And we simply have to become, we have to adapt and address the assault as best we can. I don't believe that at this stage, African American women will submit themselves or subvert what they've accomplished in order to follow the African American man. I believe that we should go forward together as a unit, and in order to overcome what has happened to our community by the powers that be, the influx of drugs. We don't grow drugs, we don't bring them here, but they do pervade our community, and that's not an accident. And I think that as a unit, we'll have to combine to overcome that.
Ms. Ali, you have specific, I think, about 8 categories, do you not, in which you analyze the black woman's behavior?
Yeah.
Sex, child rearing, etc., and so forth. And before I get to that, I'd like to ask you to clarify something you said earlier about the white man has manipulated the black woman against black men. Was that what you said earlier?
Yes.
How is that possible?
Just like Barbara has just mentioned, by giving us more benefits of this society.
You mean black women?
Yes, by making things available to us that they didn't make available to you in the same kind of a way. I think it started during the welfare era, maybe late 50s or something, where it became a requirement of the American government that if we were to receive welfare because you were out of work, we needed help, that we had to trade our man to feed and clothe and house our baby, because the requirement of the white government was that we get rid of our man so that we could feed our baby. So we did that because as females, we have fear. And we are worried about how we're going to provide for our children. So we traded that.
Your entire premise of your book is based on, you said, what's almost a, quote, psychotic insecurity in the black woman.
And we don't have
Where
to
does this insecurity come from? Are you saying it's innate?
No, it was not innate. Just like the black man's failure and his impotence to function in this society, that's not innate. This is something that has been bred into us since we have come to this country. As I said, the black man has been on the earth for over 76 trillion years of recorded history. And the only time that he's been inadequate has been 500 years. So that's not a bad record. What we need to do now is to recognize, where we are. And for us sisters, not to fight me if you are not guilty of the things that I charge in my book. I need you to get on my side and to help me raise these other sisters.
Now, if we may for a moment, let's talk about some of the things that you do say in your book. One, the black woman is taught by her mother, and you stop me at any point in which I'm misquoting you, to be a manipulator. Is that accurate?
And she was taught by her mother, who somewhere back along that line, that system started with trying to survive up under a slavery system in a white woman's house. Because what has happened is that the white woman has been our only mentor. She's been the only woman, female, that we've had to study every day of our lives on television and movies, on the radio and in newspapers. And so what we have done is adopted her tactics that she uses on the white man to try to deal with the black man. And your nature is totally different from the white man, so it's not working on you. And out of that frustration, then we come back and say, now we should start working together. But we weren't hearing that before I came out with the book. We were not dissatisfied with them charging you with everything. But now that I've said this, now everybody wants to say, well, I think we ought to work together. And I think we should. That's exactly why I wrote the book. But we need to defend our man. And I'm tired of them talking about y'all. I'm tired of them putting you down when the black man is the greatest man on earth. That's where we are now.
All right, let us get to one area here, and that area is the area of sex. Now, some of this I cannot read on television.
Well, Tony, we get to that area by ourselves. You don't really have to bring that up.
But it is telling, because it more so, when I read the book than anything, it most graphically makes your psychological motivations clear.
Because what's going to happen, no matter how much, every show that I keep getting on, they keep putting a sister up here to discuss this. The book is written to the black man. So the truth of the book will be determined by him. He is going to decide if this has been his experience in America with a woman that was created out of slavery.
But if he's being, as you say now, manipulated, it isn't up to him.
Well, it's up to him now to stand up and say, that's right, that's the truth. And I'm counting on y'all to do that.
Then let's walk through one, all right?
Okay.
You say black women are essentially promiscuous. Trollop is the word you use.
Well, we'll just do anything that we've ever seen any white woman do on television and in the movies. We have that propensity.
All right.
Many of us will.
All right. And
we don't have to take responsibility for that totally. As I said, this is something that has been taught to us. But if there is any,
but you say it's a weapon, and it's based on the fact that she has lost her ability to get what she wants from him.
You mean that we use sex as a weapon?
Yes.
Oh, yes, we do that. Yeah,
yes.
we do that.
Yes. And many of
we use it as a weapon. We use it for barter and trade and exchange. We use it to get our way. We use it for punishment. We use sex for a lot of things.
Ms. Massimini, what do you think?
Yeah, we do that.
Well, I think that that is true of a portion of the African American women in this country. However, I think there's a much larger portion of African American women who are not like that.
Wouldn't you agree with that, Ms.
That's right, absolutely.
Who support their men, who work with their men, who have never cursed at their men or talked about their men around their children in a bad way. I never heard that kind of thing growing up.
I think we'll have to check with the brothers about that, because I don't think there's a majority. When we know that 70% of our women are living alone, single, widowed, or divorced. So, where would we get data from to determine that
But you
that's
don't have
not
to.
going on.
I don't think because a black woman is not with a man that she necessarily speaks derogatorily.
Well, we would have to, because if we are not familiar with who we're dealing with, how can we teach our child how to be somebody we don't know? So how can we raise our boy child?
Well, there had to be a man for the child to get there.
That's,
and because the man
yes.
is not there does not mean that the woman feels badly about black men in
Yes,
general.
it does. I'm mad every time I ain't with my man, and so is every other black woman if she tells the truth.
I don't think that's
we
true.
We want to be with our man. And any black woman who says she does not want to be with a man, she's got some other kind of problem that a black man has still got to deal with to get her up out of that. God made a male and a female of every species so that we could mate. And so if we are not together, then we are a fraction.
Ms. Ali, you say that lesbianism grows out of the black female's frustration to manipulate the black man at that level, so therefore she in essence vicariously becomes a male. Is that accurate?
That's
what you say here?
Yes, sir. It's a frustration.
So you're saying that lesbianism then can be explained simply based on a woman's inability to get along with a man.
Which she didn't teach herself either. As I said, we have to keep going back to who are the teachers of this and where did these ideas originate from. These are not our ideas, but we have been impacted upon psychologically by the things and the ideas and suggestions that have been slid up under us. Until now, we think that this is our idea. And so we stand up for these ideas that we have that separate us and tear us down and claim this is just how I feel. And it's not how we feel. And it is not the way that we were before we came to this country. All of this ignorance that we practice was learned here in America.
Ms. Ali, let me say I want to congratulate you for having written the book, because I think until we really understand what the crux of the problem is, then and only then can we get together, as the other sister said, and learn to work together. But my question is, and perhaps I'm getting ahead because I haven't had the opportunity to read the book, what can we as black men learn, and once we learn, how can we apply it and get the sisters to understand that you're not against them, you're just telling the truth?
The book is called A Guide, and it does cover, as I said, about 17, 18 categories of our lives to explain what some of our motivations are, how we got like that, what makes us be like that, and tells what the brother's experience has been in trying to deal with us in those states of mind. I don't give the black man complete remedy. What I do is describe the problem. I give you the missing link. The black man is the wisest man on the earth. That's the history that you have. So I'm counting on you to come up with your own solutions. I can't tell the black man what to do. I'm a black woman. I was raised here in America too. I just have a new idea now that I'm trying to teach our people about. But the brothers are going to have to make that determination. They can't even read the book or begin to require that their woman submit to them about anything until first the black man examines self. And that's what this book is about: personal development and self-examination.
I also haven't had the opportunity to read your book, but as a single parent, I feel I have successfully raised a 17-and-a-half-year-old son. And I feel that I've successfully done that because through unsuccessful relationships, I have taught my son how to be romantic. I don't think a man come into the world knowing how to be romantic. They need to know the feelings of women and what is important to them. Little things are important to us. And this is what I've taught my son: roses, candy, flowers, perfume. So on Mother Day,
who taught you that's what romanticism means?
I know what has made me happy. If a man has done that in the past, and I've seen my father do that for my mother, and it made her happy, it made me happy. So I felt that if I transfer these feelings over to my son, now he knows those things make me happy, because on Mother's Day I get the flowers. On Christmas,
May I interrupt you for a minute?
Yes.
Now, Ms. Ali, in your book, you say that black women will do anything if they are manipulated. And you say specifically men can manipulate a black woman with flowers,
everything we've seen on Dynasty,
and candy. Do you not say that?
It works. It pretty much works.
Now,
yes,
are you
sir.
then saying that this lady's scenario that she's passing on to her son is a result of being manipulated?
I think since we know what we want as women, that we try to teach our sons to do things that will please us, and sometimes we try to graft out of him all of his natural instincts if they're in disagreement.
All right, now,
with our
using
wishes.
her as an example, is she on the right track with her son?
Well, I don't know what else she's teaching him. Her son is 17. He needs to read my book. So to save him a lot of time.
All right. Okay, but
well, not only am I teaching him to transfer feelings of pleasing a woman, but also to be successful, a successful entrepreneur. I've never taught my son to go out and work for someone else. When he was young and he said that he wanted to be a veterinarian, I said, I can see it now, Dr. Rob's Pet Shop. When he changed it and said he wanted to be an architect, I said, I can see my dream home being built by my son. I never taught him to go out and work for someone else. I always told him he could do it for himself. And I always also taught him that to use your talents. I said, if you use the talents that God has given with you, you would never be broke.
That's right.
Never.
And that's a good idea. I think you're doing a good job.
Thank you.
I think that if the audience was to be honest, they have to believe that what Ms. Ali said, there's a lot of truth to it. But I also have to believe that if the black men in America was doing the job they should do, that we wouldn't have any problem with our women following us.
Well, yes, you would. Yes. Okay, Tony, let me answer that.
Go ahead. Right ahead.
Please. I think we still would, because we have been given other definitions about what being good to the black woman is. So we are not judging you on a scale that comes from our nature. We're judging you on a system of prerequisites set up by some other people who are not for you, who are not trying to make you successful. And so I know that this is a difficult message, brother. It's going to be very hard to convince a man who has been told he's bad that he's good.
Okay, just one second, please. Right ahead.
I just like to ask you, what research did you do or what research is your book based on?
Listening to brothers. We travel widely. We are the largest manufacturers of jewelry in this country. And so in the course of our travels, we listen to the brothers, and they're crying and they're moaning, and the sisters are crying and they're moaning, and everybody is, if he would just do right, oh, if she would just do right. The brothers are saying, oh, I'm hungry, I wish I had a clean shirt. The sisters are saying, he ain't no good, he need to get out of my house. And I just got tired of hearing that. And so as a mother, and as knowing that as a black mother, I am first a teacher, then a wife and a mother. So I decided that maybe it was time that I took a position of trying to teach our people another idea, because obviously we haven't been able to come up with it on our own, which is how I got here.
Thank you, Ms. Ali, for your book.
Sir.
I think it is very, it is time now that we as African and African American men realize that we can also do the housework. If the woman has the opportunity to go into the world and bring home the financial resources, I think the man should have the courage to stay home and take care of the children. Because this is a society where, as you said, there have been situations where the men haven't had the opportunity to explore the same world that you have explored.
Now, this brother, whatever it's worth,
Yeah.
you're from Liberia?
Yes.
Okay,
He's from
now,
Liberia.
yeah, he's not raised here probably in America. But listen, we have to be careful with that idea. Now, let me explain to you why we have to be careful. See, a natural rite of passage for every mammal, especially male mammals, is for him to provide and protect for a female and her young. Now, the black man has been disenfranchised from having this kind of opportunity to provide and protect his woman. And so consequently, the guidelines we were given is that if the black man could not financially help us, then he was of no certain important value to us if he couldn't provide and protect us. But the black man does more in the way of providing and protecting than just money and physical protection. The black man provided us with ideas, support, inspiration, gratification, and he protected us from things like idleness, loneliness. And so with those things out of the black community now, because the black woman and the black man are not together, we are lacking. Now, certainly we have the job, we have the credit card, we have the car, the house, and all of those things. But none of those things take the place of a man, brother.
All right, just right. You got another question? Right here.
Ms. Ali, I want to congratulate you and commend you on identifying a problem and trying to rectify it.
Thank you, sister. You're going
All
to
right.
be happy. And your man going to be happy. That's right.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm glad you wrote your book for a number of reasons. One, I'm the head of Pyramid Books, so we sell a lot of your books. But also as a brother, I'm glad because you've raised a lot of issues, and I think you have a valid point. One thing that I would caution you, though, and as I've been reading your book, I didn't see it mentioned consistently, and that is certainly the black man is worthy of being supported and followed, if you will, by the black woman. But I feel that only if he is putting God first, if he is doing the right thing. And I think that needs to be stressed. But in terms of raising the issue about the black woman Also, you said that it was self-inflicted, and it hasn't been self-inflicted as much as it's been a deliberate effort by our slave masters, former slave masters, to wreak havoc within the African-American community. So I think those points need to be stressed. But in terms of raising the issues, I think your book has done a tremendous service.
Stress that to your bookstore people, brother. I think that's a good idea.
Ms. Massimini, we have about 1 minute. Do you have anything to say?
Well, I think that the black woman is not responsible for the ills of the black community. And I think that as a group, we can work with black men, but not all black men, as Mr. Ali pointed out, have reached that point.
I hate to interrupt you real quickly.
Yes, I would like to say that some of the black women today in America, still, they got so much and they still have it, but they still asking so much for the black men, and they constantly still the men trying to get out there and work hard and harder. Still, they still.
Okay.
Wait, I didn't even understand that.
I didn't either. I hope nobody else did. All right, go right ahead, Ms. Ali. We have about 30 seconds.
I think that this is one thing too. We keep trying to come up with ideas on our own. We keep reading in magazines to see what white people say to do, and we keep going to each other and everyone else. Let's ask the black man what he wants us to do.
Good. And 5 seconds. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.